Jeff MacPherson, you got some great stuff to share regarding custom GPTs.
Thanks for having me. Great to meet everybody. We got a pretty jam-packed presentation, and I'll do a quick introduction in a second. It's like there's a lot of overwhelm in the AI space. There's new tools, there's new technologies, there's a whole bunch of stuff on the market. Our goal with any client, any customer is stop looking at the shiny objects that are on the market and just understand and start building custom AI agents for your businesses. And that's what we're going to be going through today. So I'm really excited about just showing you everything here. There's one thing that I like to do with starting all of my presentations. It's a lot better in person, but we're going to try it here with a group of people. But first, when we look at social media, there's a massive Joneses effect that's going on. It's like we're seeing people post on Instagram, on TikTok, on all the success that we're having. We're seeing all these tools and we're continuing to follow one another instead of stepping back and really focusing on what's important. And that's our own business. Our businesses ran before AI and they're going to continue to run with AI if we just know how to look at it properly. So I'm going to run a little exercise. Again, I do this with when I'm speaking in person, when we've got the audience. So it's a little bit easier, but I'm going to try it here with everybody virtually. So what I want everybody to do is just close your eyes and just picture yourself standing in the kitchen, standing outside, just standing somewhere. I'm going to give you some things to do and then just picture yourself actually doing it. So everybody's eyes are closed. First thing, what I want you to do is jump up and down. Wherever you are, jump up and down. Then from there, spin around in a circle. Lastly, do jumping jacks. With how smart, you can open your eyes now, and we're going to try this again in a second. With how smart everybody is and how much success we've had in our businesses, none of you can actually read my mind. And that's the same thing with building AI agents. They cannot read your mind. And if you don't give them explicit instructions, they just don't get it right. And this is where you get a lot of hallucination. The outputs aren't consistent. You're not able to actually do these things itself. So it's like all of you likely, and it's easier to see again, like when you're in a room of people and they're all doing it separately, but all of you likely jumped different amount of times. You spun different ways, different amount of times, and you did different amount of jumping jacks. So when you're looking at building agents, it's very explicit instructions that you're looking to give them. And this is jump up and down once, spin around 360 degrees to the left once, do one jumping jack. If you can start communicating and giving the instructions to your AI agents in this sort of granular way, this is where AI can become extremely simple to build these AI agents for your business. Quick thing on me. Who am I? Who's Jeff MacPherson? Background, I've been in working for myself for over 12 years now. I'm 32 years old, turning 33. Typical Canadian. I grew up playing competitive hockey. I played till I was 21 years old. In the college level, I built my first business. It was an e-commerce business. I had manufacturers overseas. I brought this product in. And when I actually got the product in, I had no idea how to market. So I jumped to Instagram and started trading product for shoutouts. Influencer marketing is what it's called nowadays. But I was doing this 12 years ago. I ended up selling that business off and started my first tech company. Every time I've built a business, it's essentially solved an issue for the one before. With that first e-commerce business, I was getting tons of direct messages from the customers looking for when's the new phone case, when's the new phone case, when's the new phone case. So I started building and looking for a tool that automated the conversations through direct messaging itself. This is when I couldn't find any. A lot of people who are using companies like ManyChat nowadays, this is one of the primarily ones. I built the first Instagram direct messaging chatbot. It was called Direct Heroes at the time. I sent about 1 billion messages on the platform, had about 500 million followers accumulated across all of our customers, worked with brands like Tony Robbins, Dean Graciosi, the Nelk Boys, Stott Disick, S45 trainings. I had a pretty large portfolio. When one day, it's not if, it's when, the big company, Facebook, showed up and shut me down. It's about 8 to 10 months of legality back and forth where I lost the company overnight and they essentially launched it themselves with their partners. These are the fears that I continue to have for businesses and looking at how AI is built nowadays. A lot of people are building it in a way where if they don't set it up properly, how quick things are progressing, you're going to have to restart, or these tools are essentially going to shut down or be replaced. So we're doing everything in our power to educate people on building your own foundation and moving with the technologies, not allowing them to guide you through how this industry actually works. This is where, again, we're building a company now called Cloud 37, where it's like we're helping service-based businesses learn, adopt, and integrate custom agents into their actual processes. We've worked with companies over $100 million where we help them generate $2 million in 10 days, all the way down into somebody who is just starting in the AI space, where we helped him build, launch, and get his first client as an AI consultant within 14 days, a $36,000 contract in 14 days. So we've worked with the whole spread, following the frameworks that essentially I'm going to be showing you guys today. With that being said, it's like the goals, again, like I was saying, the big thing with AI, it's a mindset. It really is. If you start with your mindset, it makes AI a lot more simple to actually build, which helps you a lot. It helps you separate yourself from the competitors, because everybody's chasing the shiny objects, just like we talked about in that first slide. And then from there, it's like giving you the proven frameworks to be able to build your custom agents 80% faster. These are things that we continue to go through. We continue to have success, and we're doing every single day with our customers. Now, in just the comment section, chat section there, who has actually heard this quote before? AI won't replace you. Someone using AI will. So this quote, I cannot stand. I don't believe it, because it's the amount of hype that's actually in there. Where I believe the quote is most powerful is AI won't replace you. It will expose what shouldn't be there already, including you. And what I mean by that is a lot of our companies, a lot of our businesses, we delegate before we should, not because we should, because we just don't want to do the task without actually understanding the process, without actually understanding how things actually work. And we're doing the exact same thing with tools in our business. There's the amount of businesses that we see, including leadership teams, including CEOs, that are not understanding how things are going, are slowly starting to be exposed, and they're starting to get left behind. And it's the same thing that goes with the tools itself. We, in our own case, we ended up letting go 4 people on our team. And could you say that's replacing actually people? No, because our business continued to grow in different aspects, because we ended up having dead weight in our company because we just didn't focus on what mattered the most. And this is extremely important to really look at when you're working with clients, when you're working for yourself. Is there dead weight in here? Are there things that I need to go back into the weeds and do the work to really understand how these things work? Because at the end of the day, AI takes work. The fake it till you make it isn't going to survive. And if you don't put in that work, you will be exposed and you will be left behind. These are what we're seeing. This is what we continue to see in the markets today, which goes to CEOs. A lot of CEOs, including myself, you got big egos. I've had all this success. We're doing all these things. We're continuing to grow. I can look at 2 businesses side by side, and I can tell you which business is going to succeed and which business is not going to succeed. Most of the time, it starts with the egos in the mindset. CEOs are the least operational minded. And again, they don't understand what's most important, the processes that are actually within our business. AI is built around our processes. It's the tool that amplifies what's already there, chaos or not chaos. I use the example Instagram for marketing. So it's the same sort of concept. If you use Instagram, you use Facebook, you use TikTok, it amplifies everything. If you have bad marketing, Instagram's going to amplify. If you have bad marketing on TikTok, TikTok's going to amplify. It's the same thing with AI. If you plug in AI into a broken system, into broken processes, and into chaos, it will show you exactly where these things are. And it becomes with the CEOs like a waterfall effect or filling up a bucket. And this is something that I had to go through myself, is like really understand and get back into the operations to see the perspective of how my team members are doing it, how our customers are seeing it, and how our clients are seeing it itself. It's AI as just a tool to be able to amplify what's already there. And if you don't have good processes and good systems in place, it's just going to amplify that. It's extremely important. One of the CEOs that we work with, I'm just going to back up a slide here. He came in and it's like he was just giving people, I want to do this with AI. I want to do this with AI. I want to do this with AI. The thing is, like, most of our team members, they're going to do what they're told to do because they're team members, employees, whatever you want to call them, contractors, and they're looking for that paycheck without actually coming down to their level and understanding what they're going through, how their processes are set up, and being a leader and being able to direct them in the ways by using the tools and problem solving as a CEO or a leader actually should itself. In a short period of time, it's like his mindset changed, which then changed the mindset of his team, which in 2 weeks, they were able to onboard 15 new clients without actually increasing headcount, which is exactly what you want to do. He went back to the foundation. He cleaned it. He started cleaning his stuff up. And this is where they started to see true success within their company. We see a lot of YouTube experts out there, which AI hasn't been around long enough for there to be this many experts. There really isn't. We're experts in our own field. Doesn't matter what it is, whether we're a consultant, whether we do e-com, whether we're a contractor, whether we're an accountant, it doesn't matter. We are the experts. We really are. To have this many gurus or experts on the market teaching us how to use AI, there's only a finite amount of them. It's like working with Darby and the community that he's built. It's like the true people who are doing it. We stay close and we continue to stay close because there's just so much noise out there, even when it comes to the education. But when we go to work with the client in a business, we don't even talk about AI in the first calls. We really don't. What we look at is, what are you an expert in? What do you do day to day? How do you do this day to day? And then when you're done that task, who do you pass it to? If you can start understanding that, and again, going back, and I'm going to repeat myself a handful of times during this presentation, it's just looking at what you do on a day-to-day basis, on the processes that you go through, and just utilizing AI as the tool to amplify your own day-to-day. And once you get good at that, looking at how you can continue to connect it to the people beside you, to the people in your business, to the people in your organization, or the organizations that you actually help itself. So to us, I always get the question, what sort of YouTube videos should I watch? What sort of training should I look into? If you're not in a community of some sort, I highly recommend staying away from as much of the trainings on the market as well, and start understanding how your business can be, or your business or your processes can be amplified. Again, there's so much shiny objects. What to do, remove the overwhelm, put the blinders on, and just focus on what you're good at. You're an expert in something. We just need to find out what that is. Operators over visionaries. I heard a quote a couple months ago at an event. The best organizations have the healthiest immune systems, which is true. If you really think about this quote, it's very true. And it's the same thing with our bodies. It's like the healthiest people have the best people, the healthiest people have the healthiest immune systems. And it is true. And looking at it that way gave me a lot of perspective on how our lives in person, our day to day, has so much comparison to our businesses as well. This is why I believe operators, COOs, ops managers, people who are really in the weeds are going to have more success than visionaries, than your typical workers on the market. They understand people, they listen, they have the perspectives of people, they understand the processes, they understand everything going on within an organization and can connect the dots. They solve problems, they people manage, they understand everything within a business. So if you are an operator, great. Continue to learn, continue to understand that more and more. If you aren't an operator, I highly recommend spending time on learning how to become a better operator. And we've got some communities that we're in for those. Or if your business is just at a point where you don't have time to learn how to be an operator, find one that is a savant in their own space and bring them into your organization. I can guarantee you that having an operator at the highest level is going to change the trajectory of your business, your clients' businesses, and how you integrate AI into your whole ecosystem. Visionaries need operators. Yeah, integrators, 100%. So same thing. So visionary would be a CEO. Operators are integrators, same sort of concept. So yes, you're 100% right in terms of the EOS terms. To make stuff happen, people, 100%. This one always makes some people laugh. In the comments, who likes to read SOPs or who likes to create SOPs for their business? Just if yes, say yes. If no, put no just in the comment block there. No. Majority of people don't. It's like once they're built, it's like people don't go back and read them. If they do, they might not read the whole thing. It's the same thing with AI agents. And we look at prompts and SOPs to be very similar mechanisms. If you put a prompt in an SOP closely together, there's a lot of similarities with instructions and what you're actually supposed to do. The problem with SOPs and the same thing with large prompts is if they're too long and they have too much information in them, this is where AI starts to get confused. So it's like we follow frameworks over SOPs. One, because agents in AI has the ability to reason if you give it enough instructions. And it's the same thing with having people in your business. If you can give somebody a framework and give them guidelines on how they're supposed to accomplish something, they're likely a better person for your organization because they're going to continue to push the limits. They're going to think outside the box, and they're going to help you solve that problem. If they're following an SOP completely rigidly, this is where you're going to keep people within a box. I'm not saying that they're not important people within an organization, depending on the side, but comparing it to how AI and how prompting works, we look at it in a way is if you can take an SOP and break it down into micro instructions. So back in the day, they used to have Christmas lights. When one bulb went out, they all went out. They really did. And it was a pain in the butt to be able to go back and figure out which bulb fixed the whole process. If you can break down each of these instructions into micro prompts, is how we look at it. It's like you have the ability to go to exactly where the issue is, come back and fix the situation, whatever it may be, quicker. And this is how you start training your AI agents a lot better. It's the same thing with people. It's like if you give them a long SOP, the odds of them getting it right are very slim. But if you give them a framework with instructions on how to accomplish the goal, the odds of them being able to get there are a lot higher because the overwhelm of an SOP for us, we said it here in the chat, it's like nobody likes them, nobody likes to read them, nobody likes to create them. It's just facts in the business world. I don't know why people have been pushing them for so long, but it's a time of the past, at least for us, and how we look at building AI agents. Frameworks over SOPs all day. Now, who's heard of the good old Henry Ford? This is a great analogy that we like to paint a picture with as well. So, Henry Ford had a quote, "If I asked what people wanted, they would have said faster horses." What did he mean by this? Faster horses versus revolutionary thinking. It's if you don't optimize the broken systems, you have to rebuild them. Adding more services or more customers is like asking for faster horses. It really is. This quote is really powerful for us, and we do it a lot. If he went through and revolutionized the production line to be able to create faster, this is what he did. He didn't create faster horses. In this case, he recreated and used his thinking to be able to rebuild the production line, which was revolutionary for how we build and manufacture today. It's the same sort of concept with our business. A lot of service-based businesses that we work with, they believe that they can just keep adding more services to their business when in theory, it sounds like you're going to make more money, but at the end of the day, all it does is create more headache because you create more chaos. The systems are still broken and you're not actually fixing what's there. The other analogy we like to use, and it's similar, it's like the economist theory. So we've seen this before. If you've seen Mickey Mouse, you've seen Charlie Brown, you've seen in a factory where you've got belts and you've got coal and you've got steam. And this is how we used to actually run. He also didn't say you can have any color as long. With the production line back in the day, same thing when adding electricity to it. This was the first phase of redoing your production line and using that revolutionary thinking. When they first added electricity into the production line, it was ineffective because what they were doing is they were putting it into certain spots and they weren't understanding as like how it actually worked. And it's the same thing with AI. What they actually did back in the day, and this is a true theory out there. If you Google the economist theory, it will show up. The whole story is there. It's a really interesting read. But the thing with it is until somebody came in and redid the production line and started from front to back on introducing electricity, it wasn't effective. It was more expensive. It was ineffective. It was more to use. This is what is happening with people in AI. They're adding AI tools into their business and they're becoming more effective. If you had to manage 15 different AI tools, is that actually more effective for your business? Or is that just like another thing that you need to do on top of what you already need to do on the day-to-day basis? There's the other aspect of it. We call it Black Friday syndrome. So if you've got 10 different tools that are running across siloed information and siloed agents, Black Friday comes for an offer. You've got to change all the agents, all 15 of them. Then Cyber Monday comes and you got to change all 15 again. Then Tuesday comes, you got to change them back to the beginning. It's like without rebuilding that production line and just having the ability for them all to work together, this is where businesses are going to struggle at scale. And when people really catch on to how this works, is like all of our processes are already there. You just need to understand how to build these AI agents, and you don't need as many shiny objects that are on the market. Like I was saying, stop chasing the shiny objects. And this is where we look at and comes back to my Facebook lawsuit that I was talking about before. It's things like N8N, Make, Zapier, all of these tools, are they going to be around in the future? I'm not 100% sure, but as the technologies progress and things like MCPs and agents have the ability to connect to all of your third-party tools, whether it's your CRM system, your email, like whatever it may be within your organization, do you need these tools? Do you need N8N? Do you need Make? Do you need Zapier? I'm not 100% sure, but where our heads are at and where we teach businesses is use them now, but set your systems up for if they're not here later, you can adjust. You can adapt. You can move with the technologies. We see a lot of people building workflows on N8N, and if for some reason something happens, they lose their business overnight. Gone. We have a client that we're working with right now. Very impressive story. I've never seen it before, but this kid, 24 years old, built an AI workflow on N8N. Front to back, he helps businesses get more sales from their actual leads itself. They're able to extract that stuff. But again, the whole thing was built on N8N. The problem with it is a couple of things. One, when he released a new feature or a new update to the actual prompt itself, it was instantly all the customers had access to it. So it's like there's no testing period in there, which is a big thing. You need to be able to test these things before you actually release them to the market. Additionally, it's like scalability. If for some reason N8N went down or it's like the technology's progressed, this kid is generating over $600,000 profit per month. He would lose his business overnight, which is extremely scary. Utilizing these tools are really good for building prototypes, for understanding is this worth my time, but still looking at how to build these agents internally for yourself and then utilizing these tools to be able to connect them to your third-party systems is where we see the safest and the most scalable way for your business. A lot of these N8Ns, the Makes and Zapiers, again, I don't want to say they're useless. I really don't, because there's a lot of great use cases for them. It's just being very careful with the aspect of, am I just band-aiding something for a period of time before the technologies change and I have to restart? Really focusing on the foundation of your business is extremely important. And Darby, you mentioned just like the EOS framework and stuff like that. EOS people are some of the best people to work with because their companies are willing to step back to move forward. They do this on a quarterly basis. How do we reset our goals? How do we reset our rocks? How do we reset these things to be able to continue to progress and continue to move forward? This is why we love working with EOS people. So I've got a framework. We've got two frameworks I'm going to go through with everybody and just walk through how we build agents, and then I'm going to go through a framework on how we actually do the prompting. Again, a lot of people teach different prompting. I'm just showing you what works for us. And then using it as a framework, you can adjust what you're already doing, or you can follow it exactly. It's completely up to you. So I'm just going to switch over to my Miro board here. Hopefully. Okay. Miro. Hopefully. There it goes. Can we all see this mirror board screen fine? Yeah. So there's a 4-pillar framework for building custom agents faster. Now, I haven't seen a case where these 4 pillars don't work for any case. Marketing, sales, onboarding, finances, customer support. It's the same 4 pillars for every single agent that you've built. I haven't seen anything different. Sure, there's some nuances, but following these 4 pillars is where we've seen the best success on all of everything that we build. We do it for ourselves, we do it for our clients, we do it for our, and we teach our customers. So the 4 pillars typically is this is how most people build agents. Where it's okay, we put in our information, whatever it may be. We call it inspiration. And we like to use the content, creating content, doing marketing. As you were just building a website for, I believe his name was Todd. It's like you went to his website, you get this information, and then you prompt it using Gamma to be able to get it done, which is great. Inspiration needs to come in from somewhere, always. It doesn't matter if it's a customer onboarding. It doesn't matter if it's a sales call. It doesn't matter where it is, whether it's a YouTube video that you're transcribing or analyzing a sales call. There needs to be some sort of input, some sort of data in to be able to feed into the prompt itself. The transform and prompt phase, one of the most important phases, and we break this up into 2, is the transform. Transforming the information so the agents can use it properly. The big example I like to use with this, if you take a call transcription, and we take this recording here, the amount of filler words is unreal. Ton of filler words. But people are filling filler words into the agents. Sure, in some aspects, they can figure it out. But if you don't structure what the information is properly to feed it into the actual agent itself, this is where you get hallucination. This is where you get inconsistent outputs. This is where you start lacking the effectiveness of building these AI agents for yourself. Another thing, and this is where we really focus with people, human in the loop. AI is not at the point where you can just throw it in 100% every single time. It really isn't. You might get lucky, absolutely, but having somebody to approve it is so important. You need to say, yes, this is right. No, this is wrong. And if it's wrong, going back to the prompt and tweaking it until it gets to that point where 100 out of 100 times it is. That's when you turn it into the automation. The last thing, which is important, and we focus on this with our customers, the output, the example, the final product. The amount of people that have came to us over the last 2 years, I want an AI caller. First of all, the amount of AI callers that have came across the table in the last 2 years, I think there's been 4 or 5 of them. There's been a lot of these AI callers. And to the point of if you build on one AI caller and something changes, you can lose everything and then you got to move again. But we ask a customer, like, can you show me an example of the output that you're trying to get? If they don't have that example, we don't focus on it because they haven't thought through the process yet and they can't provide us with an example. We actually bake these into the prompt, which I'm going to show you. If you can give an agent the actual example or examples into the prompt, it will understand how to work there because you've fed it the information, you've transformed it so you can give it to the prompt properly, to the agent properly, you've approved it or didn't approve it, you've changed it. This is where the feedback loop comes in, and then it works to the output as much as possible. I haven't seen a case yet where these 4 pillars don't work for all AI agents. I really haven't. It can be this simple. What is the information in? How do I transform it so it works to give it to the prompt that I've created? Who is going to approve it? Somebody has to be an expert in that. One of the quotes that we say is AI is not going to make you an expert in anything. You need to be an expert in something to use AI. And then the output. Do you have an example? Have you done this before manually? You have to do this stuff manually before you can AIify it. So this is typically how people are building prompts. What we do it backwards. It's the same concept, but like I already touched on, it's, do I have this example? Have I done this before? It starts removing the overwhelm of where am I getting this information from? How am I going to build this prompt? Because if you've got this example, let's just say it is like an email marketing campaign, just use as an example, you will know the steps that you went through to be able to prompt it, the instructions. An example for this, I taught my sister who has never used AI before how to build a prompt. She's doing job applications for herself, all this fun stuff, doesn't really matter. But I said, if you were going to explain how to do a job application to my brother-in-law, what would you go through? She's already done them before. She's the expert. She wrote down the instructions very granularly, and then all she had to do was feed it the actual information itself. This process here removes the overwhelm of what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? Because you've started with the final product. If you start with the final product, it's amazing the amount of overwhelm that is actually removed from you because you know what to do. You've done it before. Very important. Again, these are just frameworks that we follow. We've been building AI agents for businesses for over 2 years now. We've built them for ourselves. We've built our own technologies. We've built multiple workflows for hundreds of clients. And this is what we started with. And this is what we do religiously now, every single time. Follow me. Everybody still here? Quick breath.
Still here.
I know it's a fire hose, but I want to get through it because we're going to do some questions and answers at the end, Darby, if that's cool with you.
Totally.
Cool. So these are the 4 pillars. Again, repeating myself: inspiration, transformation, human in the loop, who's going to say yes or no, and output. But like I was saying, work backwards. Not intuitive. That's kind of the thing with AI. It's a counterintuitive system. You got to think outside the box. If you've got the output, it just gives you the ability to scale. And if you put inspiration at the end, for us, it's if you don't have any more information, is that actually something that you should focus on? If you don't know where you're getting the inspiration from or the information from or the input, is this something that we should focus on in our business? Because if you go through that process properly, it's okay, here's my output. I'm going to be the expert. Here's the steps that I've done it, but I only got 1 sales call per day coming through. Maybe I shouldn't focus on it right now. Maybe I should wait until our business goes and I should focus on something else.
Curious, Jeff, if you can maybe speak to that a little bit more about like how to identify the things that maybe like you should focus on that can easily be distracting because you see these cool posts or you see these cool workflows, but
yeah,
maybe it doesn't make sense for a few weeks or a few months or never to even actually do. Are there any like mental like kind of models that you walk through in this process that help you with identifying what's like signal versus what's noise?
Yeah, and I'm gonna go through that as well right now. So it's a great question. So back to the trusted mirror board here. So it's okay. We understand the 4 pillars of the actual framework itself, and the last one I'm going to go through is prompting. So when we go through customers, we go through their customer journey, and this is like their production line. Either yourself, where do your customers come from? Step 1, that's your marketing. It's like, how do I deliver the product? Step 2, and then how do I repeat that process? Each thing along those steps is like somebody in your team's doing a task or you're doing a task. You really are. So if you can map out what we call as your that's big. Your customer journey from start to finish on how a customer finds you to how you deliver the product, to how you onboard them, to how you close them, to how you do finance, all of these things in our business, this is our production line. Just like Henry Ford. It's if you can go back to your customer journey is what we call it, and look at every step along the way that your customer goes through, just like it would be a product, just like it would be how you deliver your service itself. It's amazing how quick these processes start to expose themselves. Because a lot of the time, especially with service-based businesses, they say it's all fulfillment's broken. Actually, your onboarding's broken because you're not collecting the information quick enough or full enough to be able to give it to the person behind the scenes to actually do the work. It's like, do you have enough leads? No. Okay, why? I'm not posting enough on social media. Okay, maybe you should start there. Or one of the agencies that we work with, to the point of true scale, and this is where software companies do it right. Most of the time, especially when bootstrapping a business, you started as a service, you've turned it into some sort of system where you help yourself scale, and then you productize it. Agents give you the ability to do that. So if you're a service-based business or you're an expert in some sort of field and you can train yourself or those frameworks and those strategies, you have the ability to turn yourself into a scalable product. And that's what SaaS has been doing forever. So if you can pinpoint along your customer journey, marketing, then there's your funnel, then there's like the little things off to the side. It's like your email, your SMS, like all of these things, which are just automations. This is where you start to really see the map of there's a lot going on in my customer journey. What is actually going to move the needle? Do I want to save money? Do I want to make money? Do I want to do both? What's my goal of my business? Again, back to the EOS of planting my rocks. I don't want to add any more services to my business ever again. I just want to focus on I'm the best email or SMS marketer on the market. So it's like I'm going to onboard people better to be able to feed that information into the agent so I can do the actual email marketing better without adding headcount. The big thing with this customer journey into the how the frameworks and the inspiration comes in to your question, John, when you I get a lot of questions as well. I want to analyze my sales calls. Okay, why? I just want to know what's working, what's not working. Well, do you know what's not working? Yeah, I have an idea. What part do you want to analyze? You want to analyze the sentiment? Do you want to analyze like it's really looking at when you're collecting this information along this customer journey, what am I doing next with the information is extremely important. And that could be like onboarding or collecting through the funnel. It's okay. Now I've collected this information. I want to hyper personalize emails. So I want to hyper personalize SMS campaigns, whatever it may be. And then what are the steps to be able to get there? It's extremely important. Most of our businesses and how we've been programmed is you look at information and you analyze what's been behind you. Marketers do this extremely good. Spend $10, made $20. Okay, great. But how do you take the information that you've got from it and predict the future? And that's what AI allows you to do. It's take the information and strategically plan what you're going to do with that information. And this is how you start solving additional problems along your customer journey. Darby, is that point yourself in the right direction a little bit? Again, we can dive back into it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I'd love if anybody else here has any questions around this topic, please do share in the comments. This is your time to ask and get actual real-time feedback and response here.
Yeah. And I've got one more framework here that I'm going to go through. Again, you got this recorded. I know that people have access to it afterwards, which is great, but it's now building the actual prompt itself. So it's like we understand the pillars of them, 4 pillars. It's the same 4 pillars. We're going to start with the output. Who's the expert? We're going to transform the content to be able to feed it to the prompt. And then we've got the inspiration. Great. We're going to map out our customer journey is what we call it, which is our new production line to be able to figure out where is the biggest uplift in our business. Are we saving money, making money? Where are we finding these pain points? Is it onboarding? Is it fulfillment? All of these fun things along the way. Now it's okay. I got all that stuff, Jeff. How am I actually supposed to build these agents itself? I touched on it before. It's if you go through these 4 pillars, you've done the process before. It's just writing in the granular instructions to the agents. So we call it the T-Lame framework. Task, logic and background, analyze, modify, and examples. This is the same framework we follow for building all of our agents. Task, this is everybody sees these, like some people call them goals. We call them task. Logic and background, these are essentially your instructions. A lot of people call these instructions. Analyze, style and tone. What do you want it to sound like? How do you want it to sound like it? In some cases, this could be your client's information. So you might have to call it to your client's information. Reference client X to be able to do Y. So does it sound like you or does it sound like your client? Analyze is the very important piece for this. And breaking them into these 5 buckets is really important. Modify. Who here has written a post that had an M dash in it or seen on social media an M dash and you knew it came from AI? Everybody. Modify is your do's and don'ts. RIP M dashes. Exactly. These are your do's and don'ts. Mostly don'ts. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. This is where you need to beat into the AI. I don't want this to happen anymore. So you've got your logic and background, and then you've got your modified to be able to do this. And the last one, which I mentioned before, and the most important of them, the outputs or the examples. Baking them right into your prompt is how you teach the AI to work. Where's the arrow? Towards the example. Getting more consistent outputs a lot faster. It's extremely important that way. And some of us actually still use M dashes. Yes, there's still use cases for them, but to the example is like a lot of people, see M dashes and they know that it's been written with AI. I know there's a lot of writer. My sister still uses them for a lot of her things, but it's just an easy example for people to see AI uses a lot of M dashes in a lot of their writing. 100%. If you use them before AI, you should still use them. M dashes get a hard time. They absolutely do. So this is the framework on how we build prompt. You write your task, what it is, the goal, logic and background, your task. This is like with the instructions. So if you've done this output before, following the 4 pillar framework, you know what the instructions are to be able to actually do the logic and background. Analyze, style and tone. Does it need to sound like you? Does it need to sound like your business? Does it need to sound like your client? Modify, do's and don'ts, mostly don'ts. And then baking in the examples into the prompt, you will get more consistent outputs faster. Back to the SOP frameworks over SOPs and the Christmas light analogy, building big, long, extravagant prompts doesn't impress me. And engineers do this all the time as well. People who build these prompts, they don't actually work as good. They can work, but when you're first starting to build prompts out, the likelihood of them is extremely rare to get right in the first go. Breaking them into micro prompts, for an example, something that we do for content, we'll have an AI agent essentially build the caption, build the hashtags, build the hook, and then build, let's say, a prompt to be able to create the actual image itself. We break them up into 4 micro agents because they're very specific tasks for them to do. Lastly, the extra secret sauce is what we put in here is the library. So you've got this prompt all baked in together and it's working great. Let's just say customer support, training, team members, these are really good examples. Is what you do is you connect. I'm going to send this to the bottom. Send back. You connect this to what is called a library or a knowledge base, not a database, a knowledge base. AI doesn't need all the information. It only needs the relevant information. So customer support is a really good example. It's as your knowledge base continues to build, the agent has the ability to go into this library and as it's learning, it gets smarter and smarter and smarter. It's the same thing that goes with training people into your company. It needs to have a knowledge base in place so it can reference the information that's in there. Content, for example, is a little bit more difficult because you're always chasing the meta, that things are always changing. So the aspect of a library or a knowledge base can become finite, but building a library with all of your customer support tickets, like all of these things can train the agent to be able to speak like the business, but also reference the information that's actually in the business itself. These are 100% the 4 frameworks. What is it? 4-pillar framework here, how we look at building agents. The process that we follow, we look at our customer journey, our customer's customer journey, and then the T-Lame framework. The T-Lame framework on actually building out the prompt itself. This is how we build every single one of our custom agents every single time. One more. T-Lame framework, how to build prompts faster. This is, again, the big thing there. It's examples in the prompt. And then lastly, what we like to talk about, growth by collaborations. Darby, you're doing an amazing job with getting everybody into these. It's like really learning from each other. You need partners, not more tools. You need to be able to bounce ideas off of each other. You need to understand what's working and what's not working. There's 2 aspects of it. Being in a community where you're with fellow builders or people with similar mindsets to understand how they've built something or why they've built something will keep the blinders on. Or if you're selling to a client and they're like, I could just do this myself. Or why are you charging so much for building me these agents? Most businesses have an accountant or a CFO or a lawyer. It's like they are very specialized people in their field. And the way AI is, it's like you need somebody who is specialized in the field to be able to keep up with how fast the markets are moving. You want to position yourself as stay in your lane so I can essentially do my lane and then they work together. This is the collaboration, the partnership aspect that we've seen work way better than any other partnership out there. Growth by collaboration in AI is going to be so important. Find a group, find a community, work with them, And then if you are selling to your clients, position yourself as a partner, not as a vendor. If you can do that, one, your contracts, I can tell you they will go up, and the expectations of what they are become a lot more clear. This is how we are able to build, teach, and scale AI agents, not only for ourselves, but for our customers, but for our clients. And we've done it for the last 2 years, is these simple frameworks and understanding what works inside of our business and just prompting to be able to do them itself. The last thing I want to touch on is with all these shiny objects that are on the market. And again, there's a lot of them out there that are really good. I'm not taking away from them, but just to more give you an understanding, it's when you sign up for a tool, whatever it may be, email marketing tool. I use that for an example because it was just working with the client earlier. You sign up for this tool and you enter your information on what you want to email. It's prompted in behind the scenes. So what it's actually selling you is time, compressed time. Do you have the time to be able to prompt this thing yourself? And then it gives you an output. In the beginning, a lot of these tools, they work extremely well, but after time, they fall off or a new one comes out. So it's like one's better. Going back and following the 4 pillars, the T-Lane framework, and understanding if that's something you need to focus on, you don't need these shiny objects because you know the prompt that's underneath these shiny tools, which gives you the ability to do it yourself. And this is where your business becomes effective and you start leveraging AI, not just using AI. That's it. Questions and answers. Q&A.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
That was great. Any questions, guys from the crowd? Let us know, and also welcome to come off the mic during this time if there's anything you want to ask. Just want to make sure I don't miss anybody here. I think it's really important, that last bit on the strategic partnerships and collaborations as opposed to just tools, because of how fast the tools change, and everyone has a hard enough time keeping up with it, even if you're like stuck in the weeds. And so being someone that you can be collaborative with, that you can adapt and understand the frameworks and the outcomes that you're building towards, and then identifying what tools will actually help you get there.
Yeah. And like I just put this here, we are building a community of AI builders, people who are doing this thing constantly. We're staying up with the meta. So it's like we are building a community. So if you want to reach out to me, send me an email and I can send you the information on it. There is a qualification behind the whole thing, just in full transparency. But if you scan this QR code, it should just create a quick email. It's got some information in there. Darby, it's attached to you as well, so we know. But if you're looking to join a community of AI builders and keeping up with them, just send me an email and we can have those conversations.
Darby, just not a question, but observation. This is kind of a problem I've run into, is that you find a client, good client, willing to spend the money, and then I've just had projects fall apart because I can't find the right person to fulfill, or they can fulfill, you think they can, but it fails, or there's time issues. And when you start to realize that this isn't just a chatbot, this is an agent, in simple testing on small amounts of data, everything works great, and then you start running it on scale and the wheels just fall off. They go running down the highway.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It happens a lot. It really does. So are you actually doing like the prompting and setting the tools up? Are you looking for people to help you do that, and then you just be like the client success and the communicator between the two?
Yeah, I'm more interested in being the business
Yeah.
side and getting the business. My background is programming, computer systems. I
Okay.
was involved in building the first ATM systems, and I'm well aware, like, things haven't changed in 50, 40 years.
No.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Things fall apart. There's a lot of elves that make things run,
Yep.
and it's always something.
Yep.
And you've got to have that team, and I get that.
Yeah.
And there's a million guys. I listened to a colleague tell me that right now there's close to $90 billion in lawsuits against OpenAI, against providers who don't fulfill.
Yeah.
It's almost catastrophic, which means the market's huge.
It really is. There's a lot. And a lot of these things, we position ourselves. So like when we work with the business, you're coming from the tech background, just like building a home, you've got to build a blueprint. Like you've got to lay these things out for people, understanding the resources, understanding the time, doing these things. It sets the expectations. We charge for these blueprints for businesses because again, like one, you can get the higher retainer when you actually get them to the actual work itself. But a lot of the time it's like the businesses don't actually know what's next. So to be able to lay out that blueprint, just like you're going to be building a home, has changed drastically for us. If you're look if you're looking for somebody to who could potentially help you on the building side and you be the business, if you want to send me an email, we do have a good network of like builders, the people who do the prompting that I could potentially connect you with. And then you can see if that's a good fit for you as well.
That sounds good.
Thanks.
Where in Canada are you?
Just north of Toronto.
Scrolling down to find account.
I'm just west of Toronto, in Georgetown. So
Okay. I just like Newmarket area.
beautiful.
Cool.
Okay,
Thank you,
Cool.
John.
good.
We have time for probably one more question. I see Stacy, you got your hand raised. We got Gamma coming up here in just a few minutes, so
Yep.
I'll be letting them on.
And quickly, this whole presentation was built by Gamma that app. So just so everybody can see, it's quick, threw the text in, did the one shot, cleaned a couple things up, but the whole thing was built by Gamma.
So you exported it to Google Slides after the fact for
Correct.
some of the post
Correct.
creation editing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stacy. Good to
Yeah,
see you.
so woohoo for Gamma. I'm a Gambassador.
Yep.
And so, first of all, I did want to ask Jeff a little bit more about his actual business and what they do. I wasn't quite clear. I think a little bit of confusion between the name and the things I heard him talk about. So I just wanted some clarity. But before he answers, if it's okay, I just want to say I am someone who actually my perspective is in alignment with everything you've shared today, where I teach people that what I often say is you have to have your BI in place before you work with AI. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that, of course, is if you don't have information, not only data points, but data points and information about what is working and what isn't working and where and how to build, then you're just adding to, I don't know if you guys have seen this recent article in the new term, work slop, because you're building things and a lot of people don't even understand what's going on in their companies, where there are people who are creating what's being called work slop, and they're spending way more time going back and fixing things because they don't have the business intelligence plus the systems to effectively use AI to get the results that they want. I appreciate everything you had to share today, and my company's Systems of Success, and that's what we do, but I want to hear more about what you do, Jeff.
Yeah. I always struggle with talking about me. It's always been a burden of mine. I try to stay humble as possible. We have two sides of our business. We have Moment 37 and Cloud 37. So Moment 37 was our base side. And if you haven't seen the documentary AlphaGo, it's on YouTube. It's free. I highly recommend watching it. It's when Google DeepMind, AGI beat the Game of Go player for the first time. This is where the 37 comes in. Just to give people some context, it's like we want people to make the right move with AI using us. So Moment 37 was our service-based side, where it's like we were doing a lot of agency work for businesses, but in behind the scenes, we were building Cloud 37. Cloud 37 is the technologies that we use and we've built and that we help integrate into business processes now. So it's like we help them build that customer pipeline, your production line, and building custom agents on one centralized place. It's essentially a sandbox. It is. All of the custom agents can be built in there. You can connect all your third-party tools. You can build your library. You can build your knowledge base. It's one of those things that we use for ourselves specifically. So that's the difference between the two. Moment 37 is more of our service-based side, and Cloud 37 is more of our software side now. And we're focusing more on the software side and helping people integrate the technologies into their business processes.
Thanks for breaking that down, Jeff.